What is going on, guys? Today we are going to be looking at a very important issue in Rocket League, something that drives many players absolutely crazy, and that is situations where you are in total control of the game, and then all of a sudden you just completely throw that win out the window. So we have a replay here where we find ourselves in this exact situation. We build up a nice lead early on, and then towards the end of the game we decide to completely throw it away. So we're going to go ahead and head through this replay and see if we can break down exactly what is happening that causes us to throw away such a big lead. Now, at the end of the day, often what happens is as you build up a multiple goal lead, you tend to kind of start to relax. Now, not to a crazy extent, like you're not playing the worst Rocket League you've ever seen, but it does seem that as you get more comfortable in the situation you're in, your focus level drops ever so slightly. And like I said, it's not the biggest drop, but it is enough where you can give up multiple goals over a short period of time. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna concede a ton of goals in like the final minute to 2 minutes, it's going to be because you're just simply not making the best decisions you could. And that's largely due to the fact that you're just not as focused towards the end of the game as you were at the beginning. You can see we're already off to that 1-0 start. Take the challenge here. Teammate gonna get the clear after a little bit of an awkward interaction, and we're gonna go ahead, pop this one on target, and just like that, we're up by 2. So beautiful start. But now the big question is, what exactly can we do? Like, what mindset can we get ourselves in to avoid making silly mistakes to give ourselves the best chance to secure wins off of these huge leads? That's a crazy shot from the opponent. I didn't even jump. Respect. You gotta give credit where it's due. But the important thing you need to be able to do is you need to almost be able to push the scoreline out of your mind. This is true whether you're down by a lot or whether you're up by a lot. As you can see, we're gonna take the 2-goal lead right back, rebuilding that lead once again. When you're either down or up by a lot, you need to just get rid of the idea of the scoreline, because knowing the scoreline is going to change how you make decisions. So what I like to recommend is to just always think that you are in either a tied or 1-goal game. This way you will stay as locked in as possible at all times, because you don't want to make a mistake that is going to cost you that 1-goal lead or make you start losing if you're in a tied game. So in the situation that you're either up by 1, down by 1, or tied, your brain is just naturally much more involved in what is going on because you have very little wiggle room in terms of the mistakes you can make. Once you start to build up that lead, or you start to go down by a couple goals, your mistakes aren't really as important, because if you give up 1 goal, so what? You're really not gonna have the entire game flip just by giving up 1 goal. But we're gonna see our last goal here, recognizing my teammate has that play over the top, so we go ahead and let him go. And we're halfway through this game. We're up by 3. Things look absolutely fantastic, but this is where we're gonna start to see our decision-making falter just a little bit, and it's only gonna take 1 mistake to give the opponents a little bit of momentum, and that's the reality of the situation. If you give your opponents a little bit of momentum, they now have every opportunity to come back, and this is already off to a horrible start. So let's take a look at this, because this is where everything starts to go wrong. So we swing out of here, try to grab this boost. We don't get it. That's all well and good, not the end of the world. Teammates left back alone, but this ball is not on target. We're totally fine. We're rotating back here in a decent spot, because by going back this way, narrow to the play, it ensures that if teammate gets the clear to the corner and recovers well, we can then just swing back behind him. But it also means that if he gets a touch and he doesn't recover well, we can swing in and take over the play, so as not to allow any opportunity for the other opponent to come in by giving up unnecessary space. So we make the right decision in the direction that we rotate back, but we don't make the right decision when we actually have the opportunity to play the ball. So you see here, teammate gets the touch, and if you look at him, oh boy does he look awkward. Look at that. That recovery, not great, admittedly. Doesn't look the best, definitely not getting back to that ball anytime soon. So we could absolutely just try to get a touch on this ball, maybe bang it off the backboard and send it over towards this corner or this wall. Maybe just bang it directly over that way and try to stay on it ourselves. or just in general stay close to the play so that when this ball bounces off, we can just jump up and play it into the corner. We have a lot of options, but the one thing we shouldn't really do is just leave the ball here if we don't have an idea of where the other opponent is. So that's the key thing in this play. If we know exactly how much time we have to deal with this ball, then leaving it is okay if we know we have that time. But as we swing back, we can see the opponent is just sitting here watching this develop. He's not very far away. So if we look and we see that the opponent can threaten the play, now we need to realize, okay, we need to get this ball away from where it's dangerous so that we're not just sitting here doing nothing. Because you can see what's going to happen is he's just moving on up. He's expecting someone to make a touch. You can see he's hitting the brakes right around now, stopping his supersonic movement. So he's expecting someone to make a touch here. And then as soon as I drive past the ball and just leave it for free, we've now given up all of this space completely for free because both myself and my teammate are backwards in net. No one can challenge the ball, and we're inviting in a free shot from point blank range in which neither of us have a great opportunity to save the shot. And this entire play could have been avoided if we had been a little bit more focused and had noticed how bad of a recovery our teammate had. But instead, we don't pay enough attention, we think it's totally fine, we don't have awareness of where the opponent is, and then because of that, we leave the ball thinking that our teammate might be able to get back to it. Then when he cannot, we open up this opportunity, and then when the shot comes in, it is simply too late for us to react at that time. Credit to the opponent for putting in a very well-placed shot, but we could have eliminated that entire issue immediately if we had just recognized the position we were actually in on the defensive half. And now we're going to have another issue right here. Trying to jump up for this. That's not the best touch. Oh, no, it's past us. Oh, no, that's unfortunate. So, admittedly, the fact that this bounces in, quite unlucky. You know, that's a bit unfortunate. It bounces off the corner of the post. Once you're in this awkward spot, though, things like this can absolutely happen. So we have to avoid putting ourselves in these kinds of positions as much as possible, because these are the kinds of positions where you can fall victim to the random bounces of Rocket League. So let's take a look at how exactly we got ourselves here. So if we go back just a little bit, we're chilling back, teammate goes ahead and gets the challenge. This ball is bouncing into the midfield. Now if you look out to the midfield, you can see that it's pretty obvious that our teammate does not have any control of this ball. No control coming through from our teammate. We have a challenging opponent coming in pretty fast, full boost going on here. So what that tells us is we should be ready for the ball to come back towards our half. There's no reason for us to push anywhere before we see where this touch comes out, because our first goal should be to defend the net. But again, we have that lead, so we're not really focused as much on keeping them out, and because of that, we're gonna put ourselves in a very bad spot. So you can see, as this touch is coming out, we continue to travel to the right side of the field. And what that means is that we are not in the best position to react to this at the time that the touch comes out. We just kept driving to a random side of the field, which now makes our recovery back a little bit more awkward. We have to dive past this bump coming in, get up into the air, and then because of all the craziness that's going on in front of us, we misread how this ball is going up, and we put ourselves a little far to the outside. So instead of being able to clear this out to the corner, we got to touch back into the midfield. And that's all because we took a little bit too long to identify what was going on in the play, and therefore we just weren't able to react to the ball fast enough to be able to get on the correct side of it to put it into safety. So instead we get that touch out into the midfield, and then we panic a little bit thinking a shot's going to come in fast, so we jump down. The opponents do a very nice job of taking a bit of time with this to make sure we're in a totally awkward spot. And then at the time we land here, we're just hoping that they hit the ball into us somehow. Admittedly, we could have stayed on the backboard a bit longer and waited to see how the shot was actually coming in, but instead we jumped down, put ourselves in this awkward position, and then fall victim to when bad bounces happen because we didn't set ourselves up to be successful. Teammate around, we're in the last minute. We don't need to do anything crazy. We're a little bit slow into the air for this, but we do get the block, but we drop the ball right into a dangerous spot, and teammate cannot react to it. So the question here is, why do we just give up on the play? So we know that our teammate's going to be back behind us. The last time we see him, he's quite low boost. So we don't know exactly where he's going. He's on low boost though, so we want to try to make sure that we stay on this ball as long as possible to buy him as much time as we can. So we wait a little bit long to jump here, but we do get up in time to make the first touch, which we do. This isn't bad. It's dropping into a fairly dangerous spot, and our teammate is low boost behind us, so he's not really able to dive forward super quickly for this, but this isn't horrible. The question is, now that we're floating here, we just saw our teammate go back with 0 boost. Why don't we use the 43 we have left to try to get back to this to deny the space? Because if we just float in this area, our teammate behind us, even if they do have the resources to go, may be questioning if we're going to try to get back to the ball or not, because the last thing they want to do is double commit with us on a ball that's just sitting calmly in the midfield. So knowing that, we should attempt to use our resources to get back in front of this, just to deny the open space from our opponents. But again, we're not really thinking about that. We're just kind of floating for the fun of it. And because of that, we allow another free shot. Teammate needs to try to react to it because he didn't know what was going on in front of him. And that's again another free net. So 3 goals given up in a minute and a half-ish, roughly. And that is just shameful on us, going from having the 3-goal lead to a tie game in 90 seconds. That's just not acceptable. And now when you start to give up leads like this, you start to panic, as you can see by touches like that, just flying at the ball for no reason, no control of it whatsoever, thinking teammate's gonna have it, and he doesn't. So again, here's a good question, right? So this is again another goal given up just because we're not really considering the spot we're in. Like, should our teammate have this? Yes, absolutely they should. But why are we okay with just leaving them alone in this situation? Like, this is not ideal for them. Not great. They're on 0 boost, trying to get back to cover a ball that's bouncing off the backboard with pressure coming in from an opponent. Why are we okay just driving as slow as possible towards the net when there's potential danger here? We want to try to recover back as quickly as possible, especially when there's a possible offensive threat from the opponents, so that we can put ourselves in position to support our teammate. So if they don't make a touch, like our teammate doesn't here, we have the ability to cover for them. If we leave them alone, we now can't really complain if they don't get the touch, because we pretty much said, hey, good luck, we'll leave you to it. Hopefully you don't mess up, because I'm not going to support you in any way. So again, you have to wonder what's going through our mind in this situation, as we just leave him to fend for himself. And when it doesn't work out, now it's like, oh shoot, well, we could have been back to help out at least a little bit, or at least tried to. Like, maybe we don't get back, but at least we're putting in the effort to get there to help him out. And now it's just going to be full panic mode, trying to make up for all the poor decisions we made. But as this clock counts down, you really can see that every goal that we gave up was completely avoidable if we had just played those situations a little bit smarter. It's not like the opponents did anything crazy. We just simply didn't make good enough decisions in those moments, and that is largely because we got caught up in having that big lead. And once you have that big lead, if you don't stay locked into what you're doing in every single moment, you very easily can give up goal after goal after goal and find yourself with a loss like this. So make sure in your guys' own games that you stay focused the entire way through. Regardless of what the score is, make sure you are always considering where you're going on the field and what you're doing in every single moment, so that you can stop throwing games that you should absolutely be winning. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below, so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to join my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.